Have you ever caught yourself saying, "Tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I'll wake up earlier. Tomorrow I'll stop scrolling for hours. Tomorrow I'll focus on my work." But when tomorrow comes, nothing changes. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The truth is, most of our pain comes not from the world around us, but from our inability to control ourselves. Self-discipline is the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. Without it, you stay trapped in the same cycle of regret. But with it, you can turn your life into something you're proud of. Before we dive deep, make sure to like and subscribe, because here we learn not just to survive, but to live with wisdom, courage, and strength. Number 1, clarity of purpose. The first principle of self-discipline is clarity. You can't control yourself if you don't know what you're aiming for. Most people lack discipline not because they are weak, but because they're distracted. Their minds are scattered, chasing everything and catching nothing. The Stoics taught that without a clear aim, you waste your energy on things that don't matter. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Without this question, discipline is impossible. When you wake up without a purpose, your mind looks for the path of least resistance: social media, gossip, food, comfort. But when you wake up with a mission, even small temptations lose their power. Epictetus reminded us, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. A disciplined life is not about endless suffering. It's about choosing what matters most and letting everything else fade away. This clarity doesn't need to be perfect. Don't wait for some life-changing vision. Start with something simple. Improve your health, master your craft, or build your character. Discipline is fueled by direction, and direction comes from making a choice. Even if it's small, it gives your actions meaning. And let's be honest, without clarity, even Netflix looks like a calling. You tell yourself, one more episode, but before you know it, you've binged an entire season in 3 languages. Clarity kills this cycle because it reminds you, this is not who I want to be. Number 2, mastery over small actions. The second principle is this: discipline begins small. The Stoics didn't tell us to conquer Rome before learning to conquer ourselves. You don't need to move mountains, you just need to start by carrying a stone. Discipline is not about huge leaps, it's about consistency in small actions. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to do it. You simply do it every day, no matter what. That's how discipline works. You train your brain to stop negotiating with laziness by mastering the basics. Wake up at the same time, keep your room clean, stick to a routine. These little victories build trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, bigger challenges no longer scare you. The problem is, we wait for motivation before acting. But motivation is unreliable. It shows up when it feels like it. Discipline doesn't wait. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Discipline is the art of not wasting. And the way to stop wasting is by turning good actions into habits. Besides, start too big and you'll crash. It's like going to the gym after years of doing nothing, lifting weights you can't handle, and ending up walking out like a broken robot. Discipline should feel sustainable. Small steps are not weakness, they're wisdom. Number 3, embracing discomfort. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't build discipline if you always avoid discomfort. The Stoics practiced discomfort on purpose: cold baths, sleeping on the floor, fasting. Not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they wanted to toughen their minds. If you only move when life feels easy, you'll stay soft. Comfort is seductive. It whispers, stay in bed a little longer, eat that extra slice, you deserve a break. But discipline knows the difference between comfort that restores you and comfort that destroys you. Discomfort is the weight that makes your mental muscles grow. Every time you choose the harder path, you build strength that stays with you for life. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself daily, life is short and comfort is fleeting. True fulfillment doesn't come from indulging your desires. it comes from controlling them. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret is forever. Choose wisely. And hey, don't take it too seriously. You don't have to go full Spartan tomorrow. Nobody's asking you to run barefoot in the snow while fighting a bear. Start simple. Take a cold shower, push yourself one more rep, finish the work you don't feel like doing. The discomfort won't kill you, but the lack of discipline might slowly drain your potential. Number 4, control of the mind. The fourth principle is mental control. Self-discipline is not just about resisting food or distractions. It's about mastering your thoughts. Because every action begins as a thought, and if your thoughts run wild, so will your actions. The Stoics practiced watching their minds carefully, questioning impulses before obeying them. Think of your mind like a wild horse. Without discipline, it drags you wherever it wants. With training, it carries you to greatness. Self-discipline means catching the thought before it becomes a habit. Instead of "I don't feel like it," you say "I don't need to feel like it to do it." That's true freedom, the ability to act with reason, not just emotion. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." Brave enough to say no to laziness, no to distraction, no to impulses that weaken you. The mind is a battlefield, and discipline is the shield that protects you from yourself. Of course, it takes practice. Sometimes your mind will throw tantrums, like a child begging for candy. And just like with kids, you can't give in every time. Otherwise, you'll have a spoiled mind running the show. Treat your thoughts with firmness, but also with humor. When your brain says, "Skip the gym, you deserve ice cream," laugh at it. Don't be its servant. Number 5, the long view. The principle of patience. Self-discipline is not about winning today. It's about winning the long game. The Stoics measured life not by quick rewards, but by character built over time. Discipline is like planting a tree. You won't see results immediately, but if you stay consistent, one day you'll rest in the shade of your own effort. We live in a world of instant gratification. Likes, notifications, fast food. Everything trains us to expect results now. But discipline trains us to think long-term. It reminds us that the best things in life, health, wisdom, love, mastery, take time. The impatient fall back into comfort, but the disciplined endure. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Discipline is not glamorous, but it's powerful. Day by day, action by action, it shapes you into someone unshakable. The real victory is not in achieving your goals. It's in becoming the kind of person who cannot be broken by laziness, fear, or distraction. And remember, nobody's perfect. You will fail, you will fall, and you will mess up. But discipline is not about never falling. It's about never staying down. Even if you stumble, laugh at yourself, get back up, and keep moving. Self-discipline is not punishment. It's freedom, strength, and the foundation of a meaningful life. Number 6, consistency over intensity. One of the greatest mistakes people make with discipline is believing it has to be intense. They sprint instead of walking steadily, and then they burn out. The Stoics knew that excellence is built on repetition, not sudden bursts of effort. If you want to become disciplined, you must focus on being consistent, not extreme. Think about it. Anyone can be disciplined for a day, but true strength is proven when you can stay disciplined for years. Working out once for 3 hours won't change your life, but moving your body every day for 20 minutes will. Writing 10,000 words in a single night won't make you a great writer, but writing a page a day consistently will. Marcus Aurelius himself journaled daily, not because he felt like it every time, but because he knew the power of steady practice. Consistency builds momentum. Momentum creates identity. And identity, who you believe yourself to be, is the strongest foundation for discipline. And honestly, consistency is less exhausting than intensity. It's like brushing your teeth. 2 minutes daily is easy. But imagine skipping for a year and then brushing for 10 hours straight. You'd probably need a new set of teeth. Discipline is the same. It's not about massive effort once in a while. It's about showing up every single day. Number 7, guarding your environment. Discipline is not only about willpower, it's also about environment. The Stoics often reminded themselves to avoid bad influences because your surroundings shape your behavior. If you live in a room full of clutter, your mind will reflect that chaos. If you spend time with undisciplined people, their habits will rub off on you. Willpower is limited. Even the strongest mind gets tired if it has to resist temptation all the time. That's why the disciplined don't just fight temptation, they remove it. Delete the apps that waste your time. Keep junk food out of the house. Choose friends who challenge you to grow instead of dragging you down. By shaping your environment, you shape your future. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." The disciplined life is not built in isolation. It's supported by the people, places, and things you surround yourself with. If your environment is toxic, your willpower won't survive. But if your environment supports your goals, discipline feels natural. And let's be real, if you're trying to eat clean but your fridge looks like a candy store, you're not undisciplined, you're just outnumbered. Don't fight battles you don't have to. Create an environment that fights for you, not against you. Number 8, learning to delay gratification. Discipline is the art of choosing long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. The Stoics constantly warned against chasing instant gratification because it enslaves you. Epictetus taught that desires, when not controlled, turn into chains. Self-discipline frees you from those chains by training you to wait. Think of it like planting seeds. Eating all the seeds today feels satisfying, but leaves you starving tomorrow. Planting them, however, requires patience. You don't see results right away, but eventually you enjoy harvest after harvest. Discipline is the same. It's about investing in your future rather than being enslaved by the present. Modern life makes this harder. Everything is designed to be instant. Fast food, streaming, endless scrolling. But the Stoic way reminds us that real joy comes from building, not consuming. The taste of short-term comfort fades quickly, but the satisfaction of self-control lasts forever. Of course, I'm not saying you should never enjoy small pleasures. You don't need to stare at a cookie like it's your sworn enemy. But discipline means knowing when to say not now. Because every not now builds strength. Every delayed pleasure becomes proof that you, not your impulses, are in charge. Number 9, turning discipline into identity. Here's a secret. The strongest discipline doesn't come from forcing yourself. It comes from becoming the kind of person who naturally does what needs to be done. The Stoics lived by their principles so deeply that discipline wasn't an effort. It was part of who they were. If you see yourself as someone trying to be disciplined, you will struggle. But if you see yourself as a disciplined person, your actions begin to align naturally. Identity is powerful. If you think, "I'm lazy," your brain will find ways to prove it true. But if you declare, "I am disciplined," every action reinforces that belief. Marcus Aurelius didn't need motivation to rule with wisdom. Epictetus didn't need motivation to endure hardship as a slave. Their discipline was tied to identity. Being a Stoic meant acting with strength, regardless of comfort. When discipline becomes who you are, you no longer need to argue with yourself. And here's the funny part. People already do this with silly identities. Someone says, "I'm a night owl," and uses it as an excuse to stay up watching memes until 4 a.m. If you can build an identity around your sleep schedule, you can definitely build one around self-discipline. Choose your label wisely. It will shape your life. Number 10, discipline as an act of love. Finally, the deepest principle. Discipline is not punishment, it's love. It's loving yourself enough to say no to things that harm you. It's loving your future enough to sacrifice comfort today. The Stoics believed that discipline was a gift to yourself and to the world around you. When you're disciplined, you become reliable for yourself, for your family, for your community. You build strength and strength inspires others. People often think self-discipline is cold or harsh, but in truth, it's one of the highest forms of self-respect. It says, "I care enough about my life not to waste it." Epictetus reminded his students that freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from mastering what you want. Discipline is the path to this freedom. It is not chains, it is wings. By controlling your desires, you unlock your potential. By living with discipline, you show the world your highest self. And yes, sometimes discipline means saying no to things that feel good in the moment. But think about it. Have you ever regretted self-control? Have you ever said, "I wish I wasted more time," or "I wish I gave in to every impulse"? Probably not. But many people regret the opposite. Discipline is love. It is proof that you value your one short life.